Hello, Falcons fans. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. It's a little bit late here. I saw the news, as I'm sure that you saw the news and have been waiting on a report here from me. If you haven't seen it, James Pearce Jr. has been arrested on multiple counts, which I will read off to you. Now, I do want to be very clear here. I'm only going off of the facts. I'm going to stick to the facts. I am only going to give you what has been reported, and I'm going to save speculation for when more information comes out. I don't want to be the one that puts out a false narrative. I don't want to be the one that makes any proclamations. I don't want to be anyone that puts out any fake news. I'm just going to give you with what information I have already been given. And this is all public knowledge, by the way. So coming from Adam Schefter, James Pearce Jr. was arrested in Miami-Dade County on 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and a count of aggravated stalking. He was also charged with fleeing and eluding police officers, aggravated battery of a law enforcement officer, and resisting an officer without violence to his person. According to online records, Pearce was booked at Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center at 6:58 p.m. on Sunday. The Atlanta Falcons made a statement. They said, "We are aware of an incident involving James Pearce Jr. in Miami, and we are in the process of gathering more information and will not have any further comment on an open legal matter at this time." Okay. So, obviously, this is quite serious, these allegations. And first things first, I want to say that to whomever was involved, I hope that this gets handled quickly and swiftly, and that there is not a long, drawn-out process where we get an entire year's worth of legal, cases, and James Pearce Jr. and whomever is involved gets dragged through the mud in all of this. If there was a crime committed, if there was something that happened where both parties need answers, they need justice, they need corrective action, then I hope that that gets handled as quickly as possible. As for James Pearce Jr., I don't know what happens. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if the NFL is going to hand down a suspension. I don't know if the Atlanta Falcons are going to handle a suspension. We just don't know. And it is pointless to sit here and speculate on what we don't know. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen. I'm just going to, like I said, give you the facts of this case, because just like you, I'm reading this for the very first time. But I will say that we can go back to documented cases before the draft where James Pearce Jr. had been brought up as a name that had some character concerns. Now, to what extent did that kind of extend to? We don't know for certain. The only people that know for certain are the ones that were directly involved with those certain situations. So again, I'm not going to speculate on that, but it was common knowledge amongst all of the NFL talking heads, the Atlanta Falcons, the draft talking heads for ESPN and NFL.com, that James Pearce Jr. was sliding down draft boards because of these character concerns. And everybody unanimously agreed James Pearce Jr. was a top 10 talent, right? Everybody said that there were mock drafts where he was going to go between pick 7 and pick 15. And, in some mocks, I saw him going as high as 5. Otherworldly talent. But then you started to see him fall lower and lower and lower, to the point where multiple mock drafts had him going in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round because of those concerns. Obviously, the Falcons trade with the Rams, and they move back up. They grab James Pearce Jr., and the rest is history, leading to a 10.5 sack season, as a rookie, which is one of the hardest things to do for an NFL veteran, let alone a rookie. So this has nothing to do with James Pearce Jr., the football player. Jeff Ulbrich was one of the names that vouched for James Pearce Jr., that rallied around him and said that all of the concerns that people were, kind of bringing up before, and after he got drafted by the Falcons, those were put to rest. He said that he had been a model teammate, an excellent person, a great attitude, and we thought that that was kind of the end of it. And obviously now with what is being alleged, we have to take this a little bit more seriously and do our homework more. And the Falcons, I do pray that they do this and they take this very seriously. It is really tough in my position as someone who just makes YouTube content to talk about another grown man's life. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made my fair share of them. You've made your fair share of them. So I think it is kind of harsh to slam a player for, a mistake that he made. But I will say this. If he did commit these mistakes, if he did break the law, there has to be repercussions, right? You have to follow the letter of the law. And if there are consequences to your actions, then you have to accept the legal precedent of the consequences of your actions. Sorry, I was getting out of a movie when I got the news, so I had to rush home and give you my thoughts. So I'm all scrambled here at the moment. We don't know much else in terms of detail. I wish I could give you more, but this kind of feels like it's being handled in a swift manner and kind of under the rug, so to speak. So here's what I will also give you that we know, again, is just an allegation, right? This is not, I'm not saying this happened. This is just an allegation. Allegedly, James Pearce Jr. is accused of intentionally crashing his Lamborghini into his ex-girlfriend's car multiple times, trying to stop her from getting to a police station. Law enforcement sources were saying to the first guy on the scene, which is Andy Slater. So again, all of these are allegations. None of these are proven yet. We have to let the law handle this. And as we get more information, I will update you with more information. But as I said, I don't know what happens here about his future on the Falcons. Is there a suspension upcoming? Is releasing him on the table? Again, I don't know. Obviously, that this is a very serious situation. It is something that we should not take lightly. It should be something the Atlanta Falcons don't take lightly. And it is something that the people involved in this case should not take lightly. This is part of the responsibility that comes with being an NFL player. You are going to have eyes, ears, phones, recording devices. Everything is always watching you. So you have to always be hyper aware, hyper vigilant of your behavior. And I'm not going to speculate if alcohol was involved. I'm not going to speculate if other substances were involved. This is something that I'm very new to as well. And like I said, I'm going to stick to the facts of the case. So for those of you who are in the comment section making claims about what happened, I would caution you to not make any claims unless you have undeniable proof that these things occurred. Until now, it is innocent until proven guilty. We know this is, the legal precedent of the United States. Our justice system is fair that way. And hopefully all of these things were blown out of proportion. And if they weren't, corrective action must be taken. I don't want to make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not going to drag it out. So I'm going to leave you there, Falcons fans. Make sure that, you send a prayer. Make sure you send a prayer for everybody involved here. These are very serious times, very serious situations. And like I said, I will update you when more information comes. Until next time, rise up and be cool.